Hello everybody. So this video is entitled HIMS Q4. Not bad at all and not a bad 2025. Sorry bears, I know a lot of people were hoping for a sub $10 stock in after hours. Well, I mean, it wouldn't be past HIMS to do that. Who knows what they're going to say on the call? You know, it's a long-term hold for me. I don't really care. But right now, it looks like the stock is holding up pretty well. So sorry, bears. And, you know, this company, in my view, is doing quite well. So, of course, we've had the catastrophe, right? The GLP-1 story. This has been an overhang on the stock for 7-8 months now. But when you look at the numbers, you wouldn't see this catastrophe. FY 2025 was up 59% year over year. Quarter of 2024, Q4 2024, when we had the GLPs in full swing, to quarter of 2025. When we seemingly had lost a bunch of GLP business, the growth was still 28% year over year. So it's still very good for that quarter. I like it a lot. When it comes to adjusted EBITDA, we're doing well. We're growing adjusted EBITDA a lot. You know, the number of subscribers is growing. We are at 2.5 million plus 40,000 quarter over quarter. So we are still growing. And of course, average revenue per user is 83. I remember the days when I was covering this stock where average revenue per user was 50 a month. Now it's not like that anymore. The average subscription is now $83 a month. So this stock is, to me, firing on all cylinders. If you look at the growth, plus 282,000 subscribers growing from 24 to 25. If you look at the revenue, like I said, plus 59%. This is a new chart. I never saw them put this chart before in the presentation, or maybe I don't remember. But this is a new chart showing their 5-year growth rate on subscribers, both repeat subscribers and new subscribers. They are both growing at 70% CAGR, which means that once a customer is with HIMS, they tend to stick with HIMS because it is effortless, it is a subscription, and of course that prescription from your subscription includes the doctor follow-ups, which is one of the big selling points of HIMS that I've been talking about a lot. Now look at the operating expenses. I'm very pleased to see that they've been reducing them year after year, and that's a steep reduction. Even in marketing, if you look at the reduction in marketing, we moved from 45% to 38% of revenue in marketing spend. Now 39% for full year 2025 in marketing spend, and all of the expenses are being reduced. And keep in mind, this is a company who has a gross margin of 72% gross margin. So always to look at what would be a would-be EV to EBITDA ratio, ask yourself, well, what if they stopped spending on marketing? What would be the churn? The churn would probably be pretty low based on these numbers. So the churn would be pretty low, and then you could have an insane actual profit margin, cash flow margin could be insane if you were to just remove marketing. But here's the thing. You may remember that FUD from 2023. People were calling HIMS just a marketing company, saying, oh, it's all about the marketing. If they spend the marketing, if they stop spending the marketing, they're going to be in trouble. Well, you can see they've improved their marketing efficiency quite a bit. So in 2022, to get $23 of revenue, they had to spend $39. And today, to get $191 in revenue, they have to spend $202, which means that the payoff on marketing spend is much better now than it used to be then, right? Then it would take you a little over 2 quarters. Now it is actually much better. That paid marketing expense is a one-time expense. You do it up front, but then you may have a customer for 5 years, for 10 years. So they are investing in that growth, and it makes a lot of sense because the payback period is less than 1 year based on their capital allocation framework. The return on marketing investment is less than 1 year. And of course, you know, we can't none of us can brag of, I mean, maybe some of us can, but 100% investment in a year, 100% return on investment in a year, that's not something that you can brag about often in the market, right? They do that on their marketing spend. That's how efficient their marketing spend is. Now, EBITDA, as you know on this channel, I care a lot about adjusted EBITDA. What do I see with adjusted EBITDA right here? 14%, 318 million for a company which is dirt cheap. We'll get to that in a second. But EBITDA, of course, here being a proxy for cash flow. So this company, in my view, is way undervalued. Like I said, market cap is the what is the same, right? Roughly, market cap, enterprise value is roughly 3.5 billion. The company does 300 million in EBITDA, and it's growing, at 59% this last year. It grew at 59%. So there is a major dislocation in the stock price. HIMSS itself, the part of the business, HIMSS, the more mature part of the business, grew 30% year over year in 2025. Look at this. Hers grew 100% year over year in 2025. Hers is the fastest growing part of the business, and it makes sense. They launched a lot of products. Anxiety is doing well with Hers. They have menopause with Hers. They have GLP-1 that took the business of Hers quite high. Hers is not just a placeholder. They're investing money in Hers. So if you look at Andrew Dudum's statement here, talking about the market misunderstanding the stock. Pigeonholed. He used the term pigeonhole. Dudum gets it, right? At first it was hair loss, just a hair loss company. Then it was just an ED company. Then he didn't say that in the statement, but I'll tell you, the prior third was marketing. People were saying, it was just a marketing company. The third of the moment is GLP-1. It's just a GLP-1 company. Even though GLP-1 is only a fraction of their business. It makes no sense. HIMSS is a much more holistic business than just GLP-1. As Dudum calls it, it's a new era of consumer health, what I call healthcare. And of course, how do they do this? This is exactly what I've been saying on my channel. You use AI to define and refine treatments. AI-based treatments are the future, and they have 2.5 million customers in their database. They can use that database on a recommender system, to train a recommender system, to have better outcomes, to develop better drugs. I believe the future of health is one-to-one drugs. One person, one drug. And they are vertically integrated, which makes them scalable. And of course, vertical integration is the way we do business in the 21st century. HIMSS owns the entire value chain. They own from making the peptides to mailing the product to the customer, to the pharmacy, to the prescription, to the branding. They own the entire value chain. It's not like the traditional healthcare system where you have the family office business, which is a doctor or a family doctor, and then you have a pharmacy, which is a different business. Then you have a pharmacy benefit manager, which is a different business. Then you have the insurance company, which is a different business. When you have a pharma business, which is a different business, it doesn't make any sense. Everybody takes their own margin. HIMSS replaces that with one monolithic company, a vertically integrated company that does everything from drug to prescription to delivery. And, of course, AI to design these aspects. And I think that's going to be a big deal for HIMSS in the future. Moving on, they communicated quite a bit on labs. I love that very much. Of course, we know the reason why HIMSS launched labs is it's a form of marketing spend. They priced it low so that when people get the labs, they can find out if they need help. And, of course, oftentimes, if people go get labs, that means they think they need to get labs. That means deep down, they probably know there's a little something going on. So apparently 70% of people who took the labs were eligible for one of their plans to fix something. So I think this is a very big deal. Labs are going to be at the top of the funnel. It's going to be a way for them to sell a lot of treatments. Their testosterone treatment is doing very well. People are reacting to it very positively. So that is a big deal as well. Testosterone treatments are HRT is a tough form of treatment. It's not that easy. It requires labs. It requires doctor follow-ups, etc. And the fact that they are doing it nicely, I think, is a big deal. If you look at their shares of total sales, And of course, there was a lot of turmoil of 2025, but we are still number one at 52% of observed total sales in the sector. Of course, the breakout company in 2025 was Roman. Roman grew very, very fast, and Roman's growth was better than HIMS' growth, but Roman was not starting from the same base as HIMS. Right, Roman is a small business, wasn't starting as the same base as HIMS. Think about how lucky Roman, I guess they call it Row now. Think about how lucky Row is not being public. Right, imagine if Row was public, the pressure that Row would have had. Right, maybe if HIMS was still private, it would have performed as good as Row. Right, maybe the CEO wouldn't have had to waste so much time dealing with the stock price and dealing with people being unhappy. Anyways, just a hot take here, but unfortunately, the fact that the market is treating HIMS like a punching bag must not be easy for management. Must not be easy for turnover. That's why we've had a lot of quits, etc. But this company, to me, is doing well. The company is also moving towards becoming a global giant. As Durham says, it's going to be a meaningful source of growth. He said that in the letter. Going forward, going international is going to be a meaningful source of growth. And this is what I want to conclude with, which is the guidance. I wanted to see the guidance. Everybody wanted to see the guidance. We got the guidance. So there's two very important things. One very important thing is that the 2030 guidance, 6.5 billion in sales in 2030, that guidance has not changed whatsoever. That's a very big deal. So long-term investors, if you plan on holding this stock past 2030, that's not a problem for me. The guidance is still the same. It doesn't change anything. It's just a cheaper stock. Now, for short-term investors, it's important to see what the 2026 guidance came out as. And they gave us a guidance between 15 and 24%. In the letter, they call this guidance conservative. You bet. By the way, HIMS has sandbagged before. You may remember the 2025 sandbag. That was some pretty heavy-duty sandbagging. So, in my view, this is also sandbagged. So, in my spreadsheet, I took 25% forward revenue growth for the next 12 months, which gives me an EV over GP over RG over 0.08, which is still exactly dirt cheap. Super, super cheap. We moved from a 0.05 to a 0.08. Not much has changed. The stock is dirt cheap. Now, why did I pick 25% instead of cutting it in half and using a 20%? Because when you read in the footnote, you can see that the outlook does not include eucalyptus. Eucalyptus is not included in the outlook. Eucalyptus is a business with 450 million ARR, should close early second half of 2026, middle of 2026, they say, expected to go middle of 2026, hopefully sooner. And eucalyptus is growing at 100% a year. So by the time they close, eucalyptus could be 600, 700 million ARR. Let's say 600 million ARR. Some of you may think I'm overly optimistic, but anyways, maybe I'm not. I don't know. I don't think it's going to go down anyways. So we're probably missing a good 200 million in this guide. A good 200 million in this guide is probably missing. And so to me, 25% is the better number. It's entirely possible that as we move to Q1, Q2, Q3, it's entirely possible that HIMS just keeps updating this guidance up. And if you remember last year, HIMS kept updating the guidance up multiple times. So HIMS could do that this year. And if it does that this year, I think that will be very good for the stock price. So as far as I'm concerned, I see nothing of concern. I am not concerned whatsoever. And people, talk about the Novo lawsuit. See how Novo is really, really not doing well right now. And Novo, if it ends up in a fine, I don't accept that fine will hit the books before 2030. I mean, unless it's like a very reasonable fine, but I expect the Novo case to go on to start in probably 2029, and then if HIMS is not happy with the result, it's an appeals process. It's 2031 issue. So the speed of law is even longer term horizon than the long term investor, to be honest. So I'm not worried about that at all. It's a narrative. It's a bad narrative. This company is going through a bad narrative right now. But so is every other growth company going on right now. I was looking at Klarna. Klarna is even more catastrophic, down 72% in a matter of 5 months. Duolingo down 80% in a matter of I don't know how many months. It's like it's a mess for high growth out there. I don't think the HIM's performance is any worse than other innovative companies. I was looking at Pagaya. Pagaya's performance has been catastrophic since they had their earnings, and they had good earnings, if you ask me. So HIMS, frankly, look at SoFi. A lot of people follow SoFi. SoFi wasn't doing well at all today. We're at $18. Anyways, so to me, the performance of HIMS is pretty much in line with this crazy market. The market wants nothing to do with the future. But as far as I'm concerned, the Q4 was not bad at all. Not bad at all was the Q4. So I like this quarter quite a bit, given how negative the market and the sentiment had been on the stock. So this was not investment advice. This is not financial advice. This is only entertainment. I'm hoping you are entertained. Please like, please subscribe, follow me on Patreon, follow me on X. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.